So, first things first, how are you?
I am good. I think I'm good. Shouldn't feel too much, sometimes. You should just yeah, I'm good.
Not overthink it.
No, look into your mirror and say, today I feel so good.
Okay.
So happy today. No, I'm just, sometimes it's like the second last show on tour. And you're exposing yourself very hard, and it's you're going with trains and buses and flights, and yeah, it's easy to get a little bit tired, but also a little bit loose, a bit windy, yeah. But I don't know if it's a bad thing. It's probably a good thing.
So it's part of it.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
Well, before we go into the music and your album, I'd like to go back a little bit. I read somewhere that you said that music wasn't always on your path. It kind of turned out that way. So what kind of role did music play growing up?
Music has been a huge part of my life. My mom, who was the person I grew up with, she was a punk. She came from her mom was a really posh kind of lady. Okay. From a doctor's family that did her struggle, but she gave birth to this woman that is my mom, and my mom was totally rebelling against being a nice girl. Right. So for me, I think for my mom, music was huge. It was her revolution. It was her rebel. She was a punk. She was coloring her hair in every color of that you can have, and she was putting needles through her face, and she put needles in her arm. Okay. She did all the punk shit, and ever since it's been her biggest investment, I think. She had never invested anything in anything else more than music. Every week we bought the record shop where we lived. They put away at least 5 to 10 albums a week for my mom, and every time we went up from the subway, me and my sister was like, no, don't go to the music store, don't go to the music. And we went to the music store, and we had to sit there for hours because she needed to listen through all the albums. And so for me, music is different. It's not the rebel place in me. Hasn't been the rebel place in me. Because I had music in every room in my house. We had stereo in the kitchen, in the living room, in her room, and there was different music playing everywhere. I was just kind of tired of music.
In that sense, were you like your mother rebelled against her mother? Were you?
Yeah, but that was the thing. Her mother rebelled in a way because she remarried, and she was crazy in her sense,
Sure.
But she was still not crazy enough for my mother, and my mother had to rebel her full on and became black, And then she gave birth to me and my sister, and we are in the middle. We are balanced. That's evolution, But with the music, it was just, I think I need to give an answer to why I can talk a little bit. Sometimes people think I'm a little bit nonchalant. I'm not really giving it, but that's not at all what it is. It's just most people I know, they took in music in their life, and that became their revolution and what they needed. But I didn't have to do that because I had it around me constantly. I remember never having idols. All my girlfriends, they were uniting with Spice Girls and all Backstreet Boys and all these bands, and I was still kind of loving, listening to Bob Dylan and stuff like that. I was very pretentious music child. I only listened to folk. Okay. Mostly Swedish folk, prog rock. That my mom didn't listen to at all. She was David Bowie, and she was into everything. I don't know. I think that's a good base on why music is so part of me, but it was never something I looked for.
So when did it change? Because you started traveling around,
yeah,
I think?
I started traveling, and also I started going when I was about 16, 17. I was really started to, actually probably earlier than that, I was a lot on techno parties, and that music really hit me, what music could do to a group of people. We all stood there in front of this person that was just a silhouette. Right. and he was giving us, and we were taking, and it was sets that was 11 hours long, you know. And by the end of that, I understood. It took me. But when I stand for fucking 6 hours dancing to a person's set, and they build that, and they give me a story, and I'm with all this flesh and blood, but I'm on my own. And I don't need to look at the dance moves, and I don't need to see a face up there, and I don't need to see any new jacket on for the next song. Sure. That hit me. So that music that was about giving and not taking attention was definitely the biggest love of music that I had in my life. So over there I started feeling a little intrigued, but still I would never want to fuck something as beautiful as techno music up with vocals. So sometimes I took the mic on these parties like, yeah. I'm here. So who are you? Who are you? You want to fuck? Love you, baby. You know, I like doing stuff like that. That's how it all started, I think. People started calling me. They were like, maybe you want to come and sing something on our party, you know? And I was like, cool. But I was really nervous and stressed out about it. Photography was my big thing in life. I was investing a lot of money in that, and I thought it was going to be my big thing, and started traveling, doing my thing. Found a hung drum. Started like sitting in jams a little bit with this drum, and from there led to another, and suddenly I was writing my poetry together, so it became the structure of a song, and then I ended up with some people in Thailand that was reggae people. I was waiting for a visa for India in Bangkok, and I was hanging out in this reggae bar with some British British toasts, crazy people, and it was reggae, but it was also a lot of dubstep and grime, and I was intrigued. So I started doing that a little bit with them, and I think that was actually very little bit. It was like 4 hours one night in a session, and they put up a MySpace for me with the stuff we made in the studio, and it was real shit, but it was still like the seed, I guess. And then years later after that, I invested in a computer. I bought a Mac, and I started doing GarageBand. I downloaded songs, I started singing. I even produced some own tracks and stuff on GarageBand. But it was more like Tetris for me. It was like a game. I didn't show it to people, or I didn't do any big deal out of it.
At that point, were you still thinking, I'm going to do something in music, or was your mind still with photography? Or
I think I would be lying if I didn't hoped, or had like some vision that one day people are gonna hear my things, and one day I'm gonna be brave enough to show this to the world or something. But I think I didn't feel. I think I didn't really feel worthy. You know?
Why not?
Because no one had asked me to do it yet, you know. I didn't go to music. Most people actually that do music come from music background. They've been to a music school, they've been performing, they have friends that is pushing them in the music. So I think for me it was, when I released my first single, the techno scene, I didn't even have a name for the project. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. But I realized that people they wanted more. You know, that was cool as fuck. That was the coolest shit. Because with my photography, I had to go out and really make people pay them even money to show them to other people, put them up in their restaurant. Or, right. Yeah. With the music, I realized people wanted more from me. So that was my motor. That was my base of this. So if everybody would have said, this is shit, I really don't understand what's going on here, this sucks, and no one I didn't have that spirit, like I'm gonna continue because this is my thing, you know? That's the only difference, I guess, between me and other artists, that many of my friends that I have now in music industry, they had this fire in them. They wanted to do music. They were struggling. Maybe they made a song here, maybe made a song there, paid a producer there, paid a producer there to create their songs. That's what I didn't have. I didn't do that because I didn't believe in myself in that way. But when people started wanting more, I'm gonna give it to them.